making it using the Chemex today. So we gotta rinse the filter first. Helps cut down on that little bit papery taste you can get with pour over, but especially with Chemex with all these layers of paper. More coffee than I really intended to grind, so we're gonna go like that. That's fine. Pinch of kosher salt helps cut the bitterness. Even out the bed. Here. Oops. Grab our hot water. Bloom. Let that bloom. With a Chemex, you really gotta make sure you don't accidentally close the air channel here. So that's why I keep checking over here and keeping an eye on that, making sure air can still go through that channel. That's also why you put the thick 3 pieces of paper over here, because it helps keep that from collapsing. James Hoffman has a great video on it, if you want to learn more. Okay, we're at 118 grams of water. I think that's enough blooming. Does blooming even work? I don't know. The pretentious people say it does. Pretentious people, I say, as I make my coffee in a Chemex, doing all the careful, like, pouring around the bed things, keeping it even, don't want it to channel or tunnel or whatever. It's not channeling, it's not an espresso shop, but you know what I mean. Oh, see, air channel just collapsed. I did give it that little swirl. Okay, so that's 700 grams of water to 47 grams of coffee. More coffee than I intended to brew this morning, but I'm lazy and keep my hopper full in my brew grinder instead of weighing it out beforehand. So it's a little slightly hit or miss. Give it one last stir, Just make sure all those grounds are getting good in contact with the water. See y'all upstairs. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I've got my coffee. Hope you have yours. Sam Bankman-Fried, the former chief executive officer of FTX, a popular cryptocurrency exchange, and largest owner of Alameda Research, a hedge fund, has been sentenced to 25 years in prison. He committed one of the largest frauds in American history, and now has one of the larger white-collar sentences that we've seen. Bernie Madoff was, I think, like 30-something years, and at a much later point in his life, to give you some context, Elizabeth Holmes got 11 years, I believe, so less than half of what Sam got. And I have a lot of conflicting internal tension about Sam Bankman-Fried's sentencing. I'm not going to talk very much about his crimes today. There's a playlist linked in the description with all of the Crypto Critics Corner videos that go into excruciating detail about the many crimes of Sam Bankman-Fried, and so that's not my focus today. I just really kind of want to examine some of the tensions I feel about this. Like, the United States prison system is deeply fucked up and full of a litany of human rights abuses. International human rights organizations regularly issue warnings about the United States penal system because of the many problems it has. Because of those types of facts, I am very much in favor of substantial, significant, and urgent reforms to the American penal system. In general, I think we should be doing far fewer sentences, far shorter sentences, and those sentences should be served out in prisons that are significantly better than they are now, that do a better job of meeting the needs of the humans who are being housed there. And I wanted to get that all out first because there's a couple of other things I'm going to say that are going to fight against that a little bit and are part of kind of the tension I'm feeling. I've talked about on this channel, like I'm thinking about in my review of the Chicken Shit Club, how there is this problem in America with seriously and significantly addressing white-collar fraud, white-collar crime in general. The cases are challenging to prosecute. It is very common for there to be a plea agreement. It's very common in general in the American penal system for there to be a plea agreement. Plea agreements are kind of like the leverage that prosecutors use to get their cases across the finish line. There's a reason tons of felony cases in the United States never go to trial. Like the plea rate is something like 9 out of 10 cases these prosecutors bring or something like that. So most white-collar criminals don't ever get caught. The ones that do get caught generally don't go to prison. Those that do go to prison don't go to prison for very long. And so in general, I have been in favor of stricter standards for us treating white-collar crime more significantly. That in comparison to other crimes, we should have more significant punishments for white-collar crime than we currently do. In the context of me saying that, though, I want to be clear that I think most crimes should be shifted down the punishment scale, right? I just think societally we've had this gap where we've been failing to reasonably address white-collar crime. So in the context of that, it is somewhat gratifying to see one of the largest white-collar criminals be sentenced to prison for 25 years. I was also under the impression before, more recently when I did some more learning, that you have to serve 85% of your federal sentence. And that's the way it used to be until the 2018 First Step Act, which as far as I can tell for nonviolent offenders, lets you get out after half your time served. I think that's probably a good thing. But we do then get into the tension of Sam Bankman-Fried, whose actions, you could very easily argue, have led to people's deaths, will be out of prison in 12.5 years, and he is remorseless. Him and his defense team continued to lie through the sentencing, to the point where Judge Kaplan described Sam's actions as perjury. And like the judge himself called out Sam's defense team for spreading falsehoods about the nature of the financial recovery at FTX. That kind of like truly lack of remorse, lack of willingness to even acknowledge that you have done wrong, makes Sam Bankman-Fried feel like a somewhat of an exceptional case. And there is lots of reasons to think he is an exceptional case, right? Even other cryptocurrency criminals understand that the US penal system is awful and recognize that they can get much better sentences if they plead. We have a video over on Crypto Critics Corner recently where we talk about Changpeng Zhao's indictment, the former chief executive officer of Binance. His plea agreement has a provision where he can appeal his sentence if he gets over 18 months. And so we all expect him to get 18 months or less. Binance had serious violations of financial regulations and law. Massive money laundering violations, Bank Secrecy Act violations, and more. And he's going to get less than 18 months. And Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to 25 years. And Sam Bankman-Fried's associates, at least the ones smart enough to become cooperating witnesses or already agree to their plea deals, will probably be getting sentences more on the realm of Changpeng Zhao or less than sentences on the realm of Sam Bankman-Fried. If Sam Bankman-Fried had plead out, if there was a plea offered, and it's not clear that there was, right? There was a little bit of back and forth between the teams that suggested like the Justice Department gave one kind of BS offer, which his team said no, and the Justice Department said, well, we've got a really strong case, so if you're not taking the BS offer, we're just going to light you up. And then from there, he got fucking lit up. I don't know if Sam Bankman-Fried has much to contribute to society. And he has seemed to indicate a desire, a willingness, an insistence on returning to, I was going to say financial services, but really he seems committed to returning to financial crimes. And he still seems to have an unwillingness to acknowledge that financial crime is a thing that exists that people can do. And so I really, really wish, and maybe we'll still see this from like the SEC and the CFTC case against him, but I really want, besides this sentence, for Sam Bankman-Fried to get like lifetime D&O bans for financial services, because I do not want this guy to go back anywhere close to money, be allowed to touch money, be allowed to look at money, be allowed in the room near money. He should not, that should not be allowed. And again, we need to fix our prisons. We need to fix our penal system. We need to fix our prosecutorial system. And we need to have a focus in that system on reducing recidivism, on finding ways to reform people, making sure that they can reintegrate into society after they leave. But there's a tension here in that Sam Bankman-Fried didn't really want to contribute to society before this. He had many opportunities, many things he could have done, which would have taken his valuable intellect and turned it towards some kind of benefit towards society. Instead, he used the language of benefit to society to turn everything he did towards himself. And I really struggle with finding a path to reform for someone like that who still can't acknowledge that doing that was wrong or was willful. I wish I had something more eloquent to end this with on Sam Bankman-Fried. I've just been experiencing this tension, and I don't think we're going to do a full Crypto Critics Corner episode just on this sentencing, so I wanted to talk about it for a little bit. Sam Bankman-Fried is a bad guy. He deserves to be punished. He should not be allowed back into any kind of financial business ever. And I think that's supremely clear. But yeah, I just wanted to explore that tension a little bit. I've got a video coming out in about half an hour on this channel about why AMC bought a gold mine. Stick around to check that out if you'd like. I have my member-only question and answer this afternoon. If any of you have questions you would like to ask, then consider becoming a member so you can participate in that this afternoon. And thank you all for joining me. Enjoy your coffee, and I hope you have a wonderful morning.